Coming on, you like?
I don't like that bullshit.
He already started.
I don't know why the hell you telling me.
Dennis Spurlin. That show, mama, you know what I'm talking about.
Stop him.
Mama, that go, that man, he just talk a lot of shit. He be up late at night, tuning into all his hits. See my grandmama hate him, and my mama and my TD getting mad, posting comments like we watching real TV. Mama, that go, that man, yelling from that nigga, what? He successful attorney on the two, be turning up. We be turning up, we turning up, yeah. We be turning up, yeah, turning up. It's that real spit, like some barbershop talk, except it's real black men that be walking for me up. Intelligent, well versed, sometimes we might curse, well we cuss a lot, just like these lovely ladies fuss a lot. Switch it up, tell these suckers gotta pick it up, move along. Me and you ain't brothers, not the womb I'm on. Cross-examination on in the chat room. All the trolls with the disrespect, we in the back room. Huffing and you sucking up the air like a vacuum. Daddy disappeared, told you baby I'll be back soon. I just represent us cause the system can't afford it. I'm your homie, I'm your brother, sometimes a court appointed. Anointed, know you hate it, but I give you fair chosen. Just like Jesus in the house of God, kicking chairs over. Suit and tie soldier, give the cold shoulder. The hate and you talking, not a fucking stain on me. Watch your dame, homie, I got that change on me. Black rich, I don't give a shit, bet your dame want me. Mama, that go, that man, he just talk a lot of shit. He be up late at night, tuning into all his hits. See my grandmama hate him.
That's my business. You ain't got a goddamn thing to do with it.
And my mama and my TD getting mad, posting comments like we watching real TV. Mama, that go, that man, he talk a lot of shit. He be up late at night, tuning into all his hits. See my grandmama hate him, and my mama and my TD getting mad, posting comments like we watching real TV. Mama, that go, that man. Mama, that go, that man. Mama, that go, that man. Yeah. Mama, that go, that man.
I said, here's my $250,000. I want this to air there. So I didn't have to kiss no butt. I know I wasn't. Damn sure ain't gonna put on the dress. And wouldn't let my sons do it. If we don't own it, we don't have nothing to do with it. Either we're the shot callers, because we're not gonna be in, or we're not involved.
Dennis go back like 2 Chainz. He graduated law school, I graduated in the boot gang. In the courtroom, I'm Uncle Luke, man. Got me banned in America, they loot me like Lupe. On the cell block, call me Luke Cage. Dog man hero, he the new beige. Cause your black ain't like my black. We built this motherfucking country off of our black.
No more money for you. You working. No more money for you. It's lazy, you lazy. You lazy!
Get the out of here. Shut the up.
You run your mouth, we lazy, where your top at? You got ops getting paid off of our tax. Black pressure, we created hip-hop, yes sir. How you bust a bus, had to dress up. Time to come to check up. Since we taking this rude boy need to fess up. Don't call us when you tell us get the hiccups. Hold your nuts, fight back, the clean shit up. NBA hit 'em, rock and roll, jazz music, hip-hop rhythm. I cosplay like a rude boy, get 'em. Harriet, Rosa Parks, even Shirley Chisholm. Even Shirley Chisholm? A regular ninja runner, you love to kick it. We delineated, escaping niggas who wicked. My black is the black that they hate to see when we winning. Your black is the black that they bleach to look like the villain.
Here's a picture of what my skin used to look like.
Damn.
And this is what my skin looks like now.
Shut up, you stupid cunt. All you do is complain.
Your black nothing like my black. It's all my got my back. Harriet Tubman, train track. 400 years still ain't got the change back. Yo, black nothing like my black. Listen King, Uncle T, you know the top back. Big bass know the game, take you out back. Imitation me a right, you know my black.
If you have a problem figuring out whether you're for me or Trump,
And you ain't black.
99 biggest promises Biden made to people, he's only following through on about 30% of them. One thing America doesn't forgive is weakness. They want to see you fighting for your goals. And on some key issues, Biden seems to be waving the white flag. He just looks weak, and I'm not talking about physically. People want to see their president going to the mat to get what he wants. And it doesn't help that anytime Biden does take a strong stand on something, his staff comes out to say he didn't mean it.
I'm up real early to fall for the same politics. I plus the toilet. You talking ain't money, you need to burn it. Voting from the couch, watching dinners and all the spurlers. You with my earnings. How many times you gotta pull the same Democratic trick? Banana in the tailpipe. Since Obama like dreaming of eggplants and bananas, please tell him get his tail right. I need a friend that can stand on business. I can give a damn about all the race. If you're scared, pick a grave and lie in it. Dealing with it, faced it. How the bottom of other countries come to where we live and elevated like tomorrow. But you ain't got no reparations for me, but got billions for immigrants to borrow. Soft genocide Chicago, them dirty ooze up in New York, them race baiters down in Texas, and Memphis smoking us like a Newport. So sweet games is a new sport, deleting us through your politics. We playing ball on a new court. America, come out of it. Yo, black, nothing like my black. It's all my got my back. Harriet Tubman, train tracks. 400 years, still ain't got the chains back. Yo, black, nothing like my black. Blizzard King, Uncle T, you know the top hat. Big Bass know the game, take you out back. Imitate Samir Rice, you know my black.
Just like a culture is like a computer program, there's a frequency by which things occur. And when you have a defective culture that is, and it's been like this since we were in the motherland, a divisive, argumentative, conflict-filled culture, there's always going to be opportunity for division unless you change the actual culture. Some of the brothers say you got to change the code, you got to change the actual culture. There are always going to be incidents that we can focus on to keep us divided.
I'm your king.
Blizzard King. Gotta watch your back, even family that's amongst you. Got a slut ass auntie and a cool ass uncle. Kinda won't front you, but let you ride the whip around the block like a stunts. Don't do a lot of bumping. When your mama call when her ex-man jumping, all you see is feet and her ex-man stumping. That's my Uncle D, that's why the Blizzard King coming. Hot girl winter, Blizzard King summer. My we succumbing, no singing and no humming, talking we shall overcome it. Got him leaking, I'm the plumber. My nigga made Zoom look cool, yeah, you funny. What else Uncle D gotta prove more money? Overlook the tunes, if gotta shun him. Brotherhood over any woman. Cause if she play her role, then she fam, then she good. When we say brother, my sister, we mean the hood. Now homie pop the trunk, it's been reeking just like a skunk. We can serve your knowledge and dish it just how you want. He just run his mouth and that bullshit we debunk. In a sunken place, he's thinking that drunk. He don't even drink and I tell you that drunk. My nephew told me I wanna be just like my uncle. He don't even drink and I tell you that drunk. My nephew told me I wanna be just like my uncle. Brand good, suit and tie, lawyer reppin' manhood. He don't tap dance, he overstand, he playing good. Titles don't get it, most of us getting ambushed. Mayonnaise, clam bush, buck broken, man tush. Woke up in the morning, got walk, that's on my mind. Peace can only come when you're low and order divine. I stay entwined, you keep a criminal mind. How you think I shine and stay from falling behind? He got open eyes and can't see it, he blind. You nice all the time, they tell you water is wine. Slaughter all your sons and leave your daughters behind. All she wanna do is flash that big behind. The music is the garbage they use to take you down. You used to rap intelligent, now you rapping like clowns. My prerogative, you thinking like Bobby Brown. Rest in peace to Whitney Christina, that's underground. Wake up years later, you been around. Water up to your neck and watching you as you drown. How you scoring touchdown again and you out of bounds? All the black men getting passports out of town. Homie pop the trunk, it's been reeking just like a skunk. We can serve your knowledge, your dishes just how you want. He just run his mouth and that shit we debunk. In the sunken place, he singing that good song. He don't even drink and I tell you that the drunk. My nephew told me I wanna be just like my uncle. He don't even drink and I tell you that nigga drunk. Nephew told me I wanna be just like my aunt. My Uncle D, 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 my Uncle D. Uncle D, favorite uncle, Uncle D. My Uncle D, my Uncle D, my Uncle D, favorite uncle. My Uncle D, my Uncle D, my favorite uncle, Blizzard King, Uncle D. Uncle D, Uncle D, Uncle D, my favorite uncle. What? Uncle D, my favorite uncle, my Uncle D, my Uncle D, yeah, Uncle D.
But the fact that he stood on his square, that he stood on his integrity and said, you're not going to take my manhood. You're not going to put me in a dress. It gives us a glimpse into this man's integrity and what he stands for. And I applaud him for that.
I think that time they make you into that position, part of that contract is you do understand whenever we want to take you down, we can, right? It's part of giving you the world. First of all, they went around the world for 2 years straight telling any women that would listen that this was a good-looking Negro. Mm-hmm. Since when? When did y'all start liking a big nose? And when did y'all like a little head and a big jaw? When? Since when? That look like my daddy. When you start liking my daddy? You like black people's features like that? If this ugly is good-looking, then all is good-looking.
We ain't stopping, till it's up, till it's up. Tell the ops, yeah, stuck, And the other side, we don't give a We ain't stopping, till it's up, We ain't stopping, till it's up, Tell the ops, yeah, stuck, And the other side, we don't give a We ain't stopping, till it's up, Last 50 years, yeah, we vote and get no benefits. Symbolism, yeah, giving money to the immigrants. I can't pay no rent with no black first accomplishment. I want all my chips, cut the check. You ain't studied yet. Ukraine, Afghanistan, 1 million plus immigrants. Tell it cool in the house. We on a jangle. We ain't tryna talk, cut the check, speak the language trig. Off the plantation, new nation, we say that trig. Running for your life, who advice you gon' listen? Ancestors' wisdom, 20 years in prison, 400 years of pressure. Better get your vision, or you gon' put that dress on, just to get them digits. We live in a new time, Dennis, Uncle D, Blizzard King, that's the premise. You know that they tryna make a blemish, we intelligent. What you saying really don't offend us, a real one, others they pretend.
3 things are true about me. I am 5'3", I have never told a lie, and I am 6'3".
We ain't stopping, till it's up, Tell the ops, yeah, stuck, And the other side, we don't give a We ain't stopping, till it's up, We ain't stopping, till it's up, Tell the ops, yeah, stuck, And the other side, we don't give a We ain't stopping, till it's up, yeah. You gon' pay exactly what you owe, that's on God. I'm the cat inside the hat, you get exposed, you a fraud. What it take to recognize what it do, a bunch of lies. What gon' happen when they come to break you tools? You gon' die. I used to zoom, to sing a different tune. When you change the room in them, then you see the confused. So I made a move, the numbers lose. Cause he with them ooh, get a boo.
I didn't want to get with a white woman because I was scared she might have me running down the street like Jonathan Majors.
There you go, think I'm just gave me the green light, cut it loose. Yeah, it's cold outside Buffalo, I got the juice. Yeah, I'm running like Majors in the streets, 32. Got them OJ numbers, cut the check, what it do? We ain't stopping, till it's up. Tell the ops, yeah, it's stuck. And the other side, we don't give a We ain't stopping, till it's up. We ain't stopping, till it's up. Tell the ops, yeah, it's stuck. And the other side, we don't give a We ain't stopping, till it's up.
What's up? Welcome, everybody. Big shout out to everybody in the chat room. Y'all go ahead and hit the number 1 button, man. Let's go ahead and do that now. Matter of fact, in the meantime, what we're going to do is I'm going to go ahead and make sure that the only people that can comment tonight are going to be the people who have subscribed to the channel, because we got to get these subscriptions up. Need to make it pop. Shout out to everybody in the chat room. I'm going to go ahead and put this subscribers only situation in play. Go ahead and put this I know y'all probably hear a little back talk, a little feedback. Situation in play. We are at subscribers only. I know y'all probably hear a little. All right. So if this will remind you to check and see and make sure your favorite podcaster, your favorite YouTube, your favorite social media website is not unsubscribing you on purpose. You understand what I'm saying? Appreciate you guys. Thank you so much. We don't have any contributions yet, no cash app, so there's nobody to give a shout out to. But I want to just make sure I acknowledge everybody in the chat room. Where my people at, man? Where my members at? All my members hit the number 1 button, man. Y'all hit the number 1 button so I can know you in here. Chaos Rain. My wrench mob is up here. Freelancer. Mark the Freelancer. Eternal Diamond. Lance Peter. What's up? Let's go ahead and get this cracking. So, hope everybody is having a great day. We're going to delve into a very complicated topic this evening, this morning, this afternoon, wherever you are, midday. We're going to talk about migrants, but we're going to talk about it from a different perspective. Big shout out to Jamal Smith. Thank you so much for being the first one up to bat. Appreciate you, fam, for that $10 super chat, $10 super chat. Appreciate it, brother. Thank you so much, man. I appreciate that. So, as you guys know, it doesn't take much to figure out this new migrant crisis is not just Hispanic people. When we think of people coming from the southern border, we naturally think of Mexico because that's the country that's on our southern border. But truth be told, you got a lot of people from other Latin countries, but more importantly, you got a lot of people coming up from Africa, China, Arabia. Matter of fact, I think I got a video here. Let me see if I can put this up real quick so y'all can see what's really going on. And when I say what's really going on, they apparently caught this cat on the border, and old buddy is something like a leader of one of these groups of that don't like us very much. So they just got any and everybody running up through the border. You see what I'm saying? And so you really don't know who's coming. I mean, they're going to be, we're going to end up in a 9/11 situation if they keep allowing this just to happen. But I actually put a video up on my IG page. I'll go check out my IG page of some Black Africans who are just chilling. Let me see if I can pull that up real quick, man. I want to pull this up so y'all can see how real it is. These dudes are in Harlem. You understand? They're in Harlem. And so the bigger question is, and let me just go ahead and lay this out like this. I know you Black Americans, my brothers, our foundational Black Americans, this is going to be our problem. Because, we've made a lot of strides towards integration. You understand me? But what do you think is going to happen when these Black Africans have to find somewhere to live? You think these good white folk that you live next to? Probably not. You understand? Probably not at all. What's going to end up happening is they're going to be accumulated and situated in your Black community. But so this is These are not the Africans. And let me show you this video right here so y'all can just see the caliber of individual they got coming up here. I want y'all to check this out. Let me know if you can hear this cat right here. Let me know if y'all can hear this.
You would know who I am, but you are really not smart enough to know who I am. But soon you're gonna know who I am. Very easy.
Wow, very easy. The entitlement.
No, believe me, I'm much better than that.
Now look at this cat. Y'all hear that? Let me know if y'all can hear that.
By the way, if you are smart enough, you will know who I am. But you are really not smart enough.
Can y'all hear that? Can y'all hear that
soon
sound?
you're gonna know who I am. Very easy.
Wow, very
Dude,
easy. The entitlement.
No,
he's
believe
in
me.
one of those, we'll call it special groups. You understand me? He's in a special group of people that don't like the brothers, don't like black folks, don't like any Americans over here. So just keep that in mind. But yeah, you need to check out my IG page. If you haven't checked out my IG page, that's typically where I keep all the good footage over there. So you can check me out at Dennis D. Sperling ESQ. Just go on over there and subscribe. That'll typically give you a heads up of what we're going to talk about. I can't find the one where the African, I'll try to find it. But bottom line is you got a lot of Africans coming over here straight from the motherland. And we're not talking about the Africans who come over here and they already have 4 or 5 degrees and they're wealthy and they're educated. No, that ain't what we talking about, player. You understand me? No, we talking about the ones from the poor little townships that have no ambition and so on and so forth. We talking about the lower class, uneducated groups that didn't come over here the right way. No, they came over here the side way. Somebody type side door. Somebody type back door in the chat room. They came back here. They came back here Lil Joe style. They came back here back door. You understand me? So these are poor people coming over here. These are the lower class folks. And so what we're going to do today, and excuse me, I'm a little stuffy here. The weather has changed. What we're going to do here today is we're going to delve into the intricate narrative of cultural intersections, focusing on the parallels between African migrants arriving through the southern U.S. border and the historic movement of Southern Blacks to northern cities. Okay, so we're gonna dig deep. So get your little pens and pencils out, okay, and get ready to learn something. Somebody type "learn" you in the chat room. You hear me? Somebody type "learn" something in the chat room. You're gonna learn something. Some of y'all want to know, how did your family get from Arkansas to Detroit? How did your people get from Georgia to Chicago? How did your folks move from Louisiana to Oakland? You understand me? And it was something called the Great Migration, and it happened a couple of times. I'm gonna go ahead and put the little mood music in, because this is gonna be an essay. This is gonna be a grad level style conversation that we having. And I want y'all to appreciate that, okay? So make sure y'all go ahead and hit the #1 button. If you haven't subscribed to the channel, be on notice that you can't speak unless you subscribe to the channel. You feel me? All right, so here's the thing. The first thing is we need to acknowledge that there's a cultural divide that existed between the established Black communities in northern U.S. and the incoming Southern Blacks. And this divide is rooted in distinct historical experiences, and it has shaped perceptions and interactions with these communities. For instance, if you guys remember the Malcolm X movie, Malcolm came up from, I mean, he wasn't from the South, but he might as well have been from the country. He came to New York with that big red suit on, him and his sidekick. Shout out to Hologram EMC. And I mean, when he got to New York, it was like, come on, man, you out here looking classless. And so he had to change. You see what I mean? So perceptions of manners and behavior has played a significant role in this dynamic. The established Northern Blacks, like the people who were there before Malcolm got there and the other folks, they had communities, and they viewed the Southern Black folks' arrival as lacking urban sophistication, a viewpoint shaped by our own unique journey of acculturation and adaptation. And this influx of new community, new Black folks, it impacted the social dynamics within the Northern Black communities. It brought about shifts in the community relationships, interactions, and even tensions as different cultures and experiences merge. You got all these countries. So back then, we talking about 1880, 1920. You got all these country folks from Mississippi and Arkansas, whatnot, coming up to places like Detroit, where these folks had already established their communities and schools and such. And it was a problem. You understand? And it was a problem. And they had differences in economic statuses, but we all still Black, but it's just different. And it created a landscape for competition. Some people adapted, and other people, it created a big racial divide. On top of that, there was varying educational levels between Northern Blacks and Southern Blacks. And that translated in different worldviews, aspirations, and such, okay? Now, the process of assimilation and acculturation faced by Southern Blacks was marked with struggle and triumphs. Because see, remember, at that point, places like Detroit, Chicago, and so on and so forth, Black folks had already intermixed with white folks. You understand what I'm talking about? And that's something that people don't really know. Even by the 1820s, we were living right next door to white folks. You understand? On top of that, we were being appointed to positions of power. White folks were voting Black folks in. This is 1820, before all the Southern Blacks came up there, and they was like, nah, we don't want to have nothing to do with y'all no more. But basically what I'm saying, family, is the Great Migration saw millions of Black Americans move from the South and other parts of the country, and it created a complex dynamic between the more established Black communities in the North and the Southern Blacks. See, the affluent and acculturated Black Americans, the sophisticated ones, bougie. Somebody type bougie in the chat room. The bougie Blacks, they perceived these new Southern Blacks as hillbillies and hicks, and they were less defined. And these folks weren't familiar with urban culture. I mean, they would be eating on the back of the bus, cursing, talking loud, what we would call ghetto. They were ghetto, okay? And this perception influenced the social dynamics with Black communities in the North. They didn't want to be around them. They didn't want to go to school with them. And so it just led to a lot of problems, okay? And here's the other thing. It led to a significant demographic shift in these communities, affecting employment opportunities and creating competition. So basically, you got maybe in Detroit, you got, I don't know, 40 or 50 families. You see, Black folks. So you looking at maybe 4,000 or 5,000 people. By the time all them Black folks start coming up from the South, you looking at 40 or 50,000. And that's a problem, because these people are not sophisticated. These people don't have education. Some of those folks in Detroit had big houses. They were doing well for themselves. They had education generation after generation. And according to the Northern Blacks, them Southern Blacks came in and messed it all up. And it created animosity between the whites who were there and the Blacks who were already up there, because they like, look, we like you, but we don't want to live around y'all. No, y'all, all you Blacks go over there, all y'all together. Y'all work with them. That's not our problem. So, over time, the cultural and social differences, it contributed to what would be considered the Black identity. And they began to gravitate towards what was more urban. You see what I'm saying? And so, you went from Black being sophisticated and uplifted and educated to just ghetto, because that's the value system that they brought from the South. Yeah, there are some exceptions, but for the most part, it wasn't sophisticated. Now, the thing you have to understand, and let me know if y'all get bored. I feel like this is a good lesson, but we're going to land this plane, but it's going to take a minute. You understand me? We're going to get there. We're going to take a minute. And as long as I talk, we're going to go. Y'all hit the number 1 button if you hear me clearly, okay? Let's go ahead and do that. Now, again, somebody type bougie in the chat room. Somebody type bougie. Somebody type ghetto. Somebody type bougie. Somebody type ghetto. Where my bougie people at? If you're a bougie person, hit the number 1 button. If you're a ghetto person, hit the A button. You know what I'm saying? So we're not putting nobody down. If you're bougie, hit the number 1 button. If you get it when you know it, clap your hands. Okay. If you get it when you know it, hit the A button. All right. So the thing about it is, a free black class had emerged before the Emancipation Proclamation in 1863, 1864. And it was due to the fact that you had black people who were escaping. You had voluntary manumissions where people were set free. And it was the law of the North. And so, of course, you're going to have prosperous families. And oftentimes these people were lighter skinned, educated, and their children sometimes went to college. And the reason is because you got the rich white people and the rich black people, and things happen. At a certain point, it's the classes. I think there was somebody who said, "What does a rich billionaire, a rich white billionaire, and a rich black billionaire talk about? They don't talk about race." You know what I'm saying? But bottom line is, this led to a mixed race, socially exclusive elite class. So that's where your mulatto class came from, because they was up there and they were intermingling with them white folks. And oftentimes the slave master would reproduce these children and send his children up to schools like Howard University to educate, these Southern, they would send them up there to get educated. So in the 19th century, in places like Philadelphia, for example, most marriages were within the same race. You understand me? But cultural differences, not just color divide of mulattoes and blacks, with mulattoes generally having higher status, better education, and less crime in their neighborhoods. In other words, mulatto men typically married mulatto women, and the black brothers typically married mulatto women. You understand? And this pattern was nationwide, especially the ones who could afford it. So if you was rich and you had money and whatnot, you was looking for a woman who had that sort of education that could, that could match with you. And this, for the most part, it was a nationwide pattern. Now, the racial barriers erected by, and that wasn't across the board, okay? It wasn't across the board. The racial barriers erected by society affected both lighter and darker blacks. In other words, the greater society still treated all y'all like N-words and color folk, but still amongst us, it was still, they had that class separation. Now, the funny thing is, a lot of black people who would fight against racial discrimination, they were considered hypocrites, because among the elites, they, on one hand, they're protesting what white people are putting up as barriers while maintaining their own racial caste system, right? So in other words, yeah, we don't like what these white folks are doing to us, but we don't want these blacks coming up here from the South. We don't want them hanging out with us either. You see what I'm saying? And here's the thing: it wasn't necessarily the color; it was your behavioral standards. You understand? Your behavioral standards were the key to you joining the black elite. Although few black ghetto people rose to such levels, you see, it was your behavior. There's a book I want y'all to check out called Our Kind of People. Somebody type that in the chat room. Our Kind of People. If you really want to know about the black elite and what we used to have back in the day and how we got there, type in Our Kind of People, okay? And y'all check that book out, all right? Now, I'm going to land this plane, but it's going to be a minute. It's important that I lay this context because you need to understand what these folks was dealing with. Write that in the chat room, Our Kind of People, okay? And if you can't, you find yourself unable to comment, that means you haven't subscribed to the channel or you've been unsubscribed. So go ahead and subscribe again. Now, let's get back to the thing, okay? There was a lot of cultural differences that shaped the black community and its internal dynamics. And its treatment by the wider community changed over time. Initially, and listen to me, I want y'all to hear this. Initially, there was a smaller number of free blacks in colonial times. Colonial times is everything before 1776 when we had the colonies, okay? And up until we went from colonies to states, all right? So initially, you had a small number of free blacks in these colonial times, and it grew as more black people escaped and were free. This increase, especially in the northern cities, initially led to social barriers and discriminatory laws. So, you know, the white folks still didn't want to be around you, but these communities became more acculturated and economically successful. And so the restrictions began to ease in around the 19th century. So that's going to be from about 1801 to 1899. Now, this is well before 1955. Y'all understand? So somewhere between 1801 to 1899, some of y'all grandparents was alive back then. Okay, some of y'all living in houses that were around back then. If you're in Detroit, Chicago, Philadelphia. So what I'm trying to explain to you is that some of those black folks who lived in those houses, they played the piano, they had education, they worked with white people. Okay, so they began to ease the restrictions, the social barriers. They began to party a little bit with each other and hang out. You see what I'm saying? W.B. Du Bois and somebody named Jacob Riis observed the growing acceptance of blacks in cities like Philadelphia and New York between that 1801 time period and that 1899. See? Why? What was going on? The education level, the money, we spend more time in the city, we know how to behave ourselves. Kind of like how you black folks are right now. Y'all hear me? You sophisticated black folks. 63% of black men reach the middle class by the time they hit what? Middle age. So that means you're getting more money. Are y'all with me? It should be coming in the frame now. You all are some very, here in this year that we're in right now, in the middle of the 2020s, 2024. Okay? You're a sophisticated group of black people. Probably the most sophisticated, wealthiest group of African dissidents on the planet. Just like our ancestors were in places like Philadelphia and New York. In places like Detroit and Illinois, black people gained the right to vote and access to public accommodations. So what does that mean? That means you was going to the bathroom with the white folks and all of that. So where did this 1955 stuff come from? Are y'all starting to see this? Is it starting to make sense now? Huh? What happened between 1800 and 1899 where black folks was using the bathroom in places like Detroit where white went to the same restaurants? What happened? Huh? If we were able to use the public accommodations, which means restaurants, bathrooms, theaters, what happened? And this is not across the board, but what they're saying is the restrictions began to ease. Because remember, I told y'all the other day that it was after Bacon's Rebellion, they said we need to separate these blacks from these indentured whites and these black slaves. We got to make sure we keep a color barrier in place. So now we went from 1676, and now here we are in 1801 through 1899, and they're saying, well, we're going to ease these barriers up a little bit. All black people didn't live in the South. There's always been black folks in what we consider the North. And the northern black urban communities, over time, they improve in terms of cleanliness, safety, orderliness. And during this time period, we had better race relations with white folks. And these changes weren't random, but guess what happened? What you think happened when the influx of these southern black, these ghetto folks who came in from Mississippi, Louisiana, Arkansas, Texas, Georgia, fresh off the train, everything reversed. And this is early in the 20th century. So from 1801 to 1899, the 19th century, things got better. Well, somewhere around 1900, right? At 1901, moving forward, things got bad. What do you think happened? Huh? See, despite these northern black communities largely comprising of long settled families who were acculturating themselves to northern white societal norms and big city living, that massive migration from the South, somebody typed the South, that massive migration from the South in the 1900s. By 1900, over half of the blacks in New York were born outside of New York. And increasingly, these southern migrants, these ghetto blacks, began to dominate the northern urban black population. It was so many of them. Here's what I want you to understand. In 1963-ish, the vast majority of African Americans, I believe 2/3 of us, were poor. Okay? Here we are in 2024, and the majority of us are in middle class. So we've acculturated to city life. We've educated ourselves. We've taken proper training. That's why race relations are easing. You see? Now what happened? And I'm drawing. Do you see what's happening? I mean, some of y'all are jumping ahead, and you kind of see. Well, what's going to happen if we get 1 million Africans that come up through the southern border over the next 10 years? These are not the Africans that teach us in our mathematics class and our science classes, are they? Hit the number 1 button if you hear me. If you're starting to get it, hit the G button. If it's starting to come into focus, hit the F button. See, back in the 1900s, the migrants, they grew each decade. And the more that came up here, the less educated they became. The less acculturated they became. We started getting the bottom of the barrel from the deep South. For instance, in Chicago, in 1900, the black population rose from 30,000 in 1900 to 277,000 by 1940. That's only 4 decades. Now, what happens to Black American progress is if over the next 4 decades, the next 3 decades, we go from having a small percentage of Africans, which is like, and these Africans we have now from Nigeria, they're very educated for the most part. They got to come over here on airplanes and such, and most of them have educations. But if the ones they just let them come up through the border, they can't do that. So instead of having a 12-20% population of Africans and Caribbeans, what happens when we have a 60% population of Africans? What happens then? What happens to Black American culture? What happens to, and we're not talking about the rich Africans, we talking about the ones straight from the bush. Like I said, in Chicago, the population went from 30,000 in 1900 to 277,000 in 1940. That's almost 10 times as many. In Detroit, it went from 4,000 to 149,000. They went from a sophisticated 4,000 to a ghetto 149,000. New York City, they went from a sophisticated 60,000 to a ghetto 450,000, straight out the South. These influxes, and this was noted by our great scholars, this influx led to historian Carter G. Woodson to predict that the nationalization of mistreatment towards Blacks. He said, these white folks ain't gonna go for this. No, all the progress we made is about to get erased. Now guess what else would happen, huh? Well, the behavior of the new Southern migrants often was viewed negatively by the Black settlers and the Black press. And of course, it impacted race relations. White folks like, we don't want to live next to them. The crime rates went up. The out of wedlock birth rates went up, right? Black folks faced all Black folks, whether you was mulatto, Negro, whatever you thought you were. Everybody started having to deal with race restrictions because nobody wanted to deal with them. in Detroit, Chicago, and New York, where blacks had previously lived in mixed neighborhoods. You understand me? Violence and legal barriers now enforce segregation. It created ghettos like Harlem. Like, nah, y'all go down there, y'all go uptown. Y'all can't live here no more. Because we let one of y'all in and you might be cool and you might be a doctor, but the next thing, Pookie and Ray Ray from Arkansas, Pine Bluff comes through. I'm good. And this shift marked a significant regression in race relations as residential segregation became the norm in northern cities. You get the point, fam? Y'all understand where we're going? Somebody type regression in the chat room. Somebody type regression in the chat room. Somebody type regression in the chat room. All right? We're going to take a quick break. I got to go fill up my jelly jar. I'll be right back. Y'all do what you...
How wonderful Jesus promised he'll take care of me. Yes, he did. Yeah. Oh, how marvelous it is. Jesus promised he'll take care of me. Say it again, y'all. Yeah. Oh, how wonderful it is. Jesus promised he'll take care of me. All right. Say it, y'all. Yeah. Oh, how marvelous it is. Jesus promised he'll take care of me. Come on, y'all. I don't have to worry about the things ahead. All I have to do is live right and believe in what he said. I can call him in the morning. I can call him in the middle of the night. And when I call him, he'll make everything all right. It doesn't matter. It does not matter how big the problem may be. Jesus promised he'll take care of me. Yes, he did. Jesus promised he'll take care of me. Oh.
All right, welcome back. Y'all hit the number 1 button, man. Let me know you up in here, man. All you got to do if you want to speak to me tonight is go ahead, hit that subscribe button. I love to hear y'all's comments and so on and so forth. But we got to make sure that Uncle D is getting everything I'm supposed to get. You understand what I'm talking about? And we got to get this channel up to 100,000. You know what I mean? That's the game plan for this year, God willing. So help me out by making sure you subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Okay, let's do that. Now, again, let's type the term regression in the chat room. And that's what the whole point of this conversation is about, regression. So this shift, because of the influx of all these African American people who came up from the South with their ghetto behavior, white folks was like, nah, y'all can't live around here. It was cool, and it was just a few of y'all, and y'all sophisticated, but I darn sure don't want my daughter going to school with this ghetto fabulous dude right here. Oh, no. Even our great scholar, W.E. Du Bois, he observed that residential segregation was one of several regressive trends in race relations, meaning it was a time a few years ago where we lived next to white folks. We lived in integrated neighborhoods, but as soon as all these blacks just came up here from the South, they basically said, no, all of y'all go to the ghetto. All of y'all go to Harlem. All y'all go to the south side of Chicago. All of y'all go to East Oakland. Y'all can't come here. Matter of fact, it was states like Oregon that just banned black folks from coming to their country, coming to their state. This is how bad it was. You understand? What W.B. Du Bois noted, he noted the contrast between the culturally trained native-born blacks and the largely unacculturated Southern migrants. You understand me? City like Philadelphia, New York, saw native black born in progress hindered by these newcomers because we got the same reputation they got. And this pattern repeated across the U.S. with local variations. For example, during World War II, all right, the influx of Southern blacks in the cities like San Francisco, Oakland, and Berkeley, previously free from Jim Crow laws. Okay, even though segregation was the law across the land, It wasn't enforced like that when there ain't no black people here. And the ones we got, they real sophisticated. So we're cool with them. You see? But when you had all those Southern blacks, by the time we got to World War II, they said, no, we're going to put these Jim Crow laws in place. And it led to increased white racism and the development of ghettos. Again, like I said, Portland, Oregon, you see what they did? They didn't want them there, but they end up having to let them there, so that's why they end up putting ghettos in Portland. Are y'all with me? Do y'all see what's happening here? Are y'all following this? So, you know, it took a while, all right? It took a while. But by 1940, 1960, right? So we talked about from 1801 to 1899, by 1900, all these Southern blacks had ran up and came to the North, okay? But between about a half a century later, okay? About half a century later, black poverty rates dropped significantly. Black folks became skilled at trades, and they rose in the ranks related to white folks. Okay? And so then they said, well, it's time to go ahead and outlaw this segregation again. So that's why around about 1955, you didn't have as much pushback as you would have had in the 1900s. Okay? You see? So between 1940 and 1960, because the black poverty rate dropped significantly and the black income and skill in trades rose relative to whites, this played a part in the tensions easing. Not all the way, but enough. And this was largely due to the migration from low-income southern areas to higher income regions, offering better education and job opportunities. So these folks who came up from the South, they start going to better schools. They start having better opportunities. They start falling in and fitting in. It took 40 years, but it was a lot of regression. Many of those migrant families acculturated, you see? And it led to more erosions of racial barriers even before the civil rights movements in the 1950s. Jackie Robinson, he helped break the color barriers in Major League Baseball in 1947. The desegregation of the military during the Truman administration, that predated the Civil Rights Act. I talked about that. Remember we talked about that? In 1948, Truman, after the World War II, remember the brother got beat up on his way home with his uniform on, and Truman, being a former military man, he said, nah, that's not gonna happen. And went and integrated the military. His re-election campaign included civil rights for blacks, right? A move that people thought was risky. But remember, people's perceptions of blacks had changed. It took us some time, but things had changed. They got acculturated. And basically that victory, his victory as president, it indicated a shift in white public opinion, who at that time they had the dominant vote. And so, you know, by the time the Civil Rights Act of 1964 rolled around and the Voting Rights Act of 1965, you know, that reduced a lot of racial restrictions, especially in the South, and it increased the number of black elected officials. You understand? You had a lot of economically upward mobile black people, incomes and professional occupations was going up, and you know, and that helped accelerate the the integration, voluntary, and the mindset that people had. You see, the rise of blacks people into higher level jobs. These folks who families had just come up there, you know, 40 years ago. It was more pronounced before the Civil Rights Act. You see, so you know, this is what we're looking at. I think the Civil Rights Act was more of a consequence of black people advancing. We didn't wait around for the law to change. We did better, and then the law caught up. There's no need for this civil rights desegregation anymore. These black folks are doing as well as us, if it's not better. You see? Now, what was the motivation? Huh? Y'all with me? Let me know if you with me, fam. Come on now. What was the motivation? To get out of the South. They had economic motivations. Do y'all know about that? Somebody type Great Migration in the chat room. Our people came up out of the South to the North. A couple of different waves, actually. Great Migration. Somebody type, I need to know y'all here. Somebody type Great Migration. Because y'all ain't doing nothing with the super chat. I guess you're bored, but you're going to learn something anyway. While I'm here on YouTube, I'm going to take my time to teach y'all. Y'all going to learn. Y'all going to get these jewels. Somebody type these jewels in the chat room. You're going to get these jewels. Okay? Now, the Great Migration, type that in the chat room, the Great Migration. It was primarily motivated by economic opportunities in the North. You know, our folks were still down there in the South picking cotton, man. I mean, my goodness, you lived on the same plantation where your mom and them lived and your folks have been living. You in the same old community. Oh, man, same old white folk looking at you. These white folks don't know. They treat you like you're still in slavery. You understand? They don't give a hoot about you. I'm going to share something with y'all real quick since we sharing. This is, I'm going to just want y'all to look at this. This is my, this is a bill of sale for my people. You guys don't know, my people are from Mississippi. They're from a place called, they're from Clarksdale, Mississippi. But I'm going to show this to you guys so you can see. This is my people right here. This is something I found on Ancestor.com through a relative that I met on Ancestor.com. 3 former slaves sold during 1850. This is a relic. 1850 is owned by A.L. Presgrove. I've heard this name before. This is the man who owned my great-granddaddy. And Sam, his wife, Elmira, that's my grandmother's name, and their 6 children, Betty Alexander, Mary Martha Frank Washington. This is my granddaddy Sam, his wife, his children, Frank James King. That was my great granddaddy, and Washington was his brother. So my great granddaddy's name was Sam King, and this is Frank James King, my great granddaddy. This is my grandmother's. Dad right here. All of the slaves are warranted, sound and healthy in body and mind and right, entitled free from claim whatever, and the slaves for life as witness our hand and seal Martha Washington. Mary are 3 former slaves now living. So this is actually my, this is a bill of sale for my people. You understand what I'm saying? Like, why would I want to live there? You understand what I'm saying? I'm gonna get myself up out of there and go to Detroit. I can't be here no more. I'm living in and on top of that, them folks, some of them white folks didn't know that, they treated you like you were still slaves. You understand me? They wanted to escape the violence of the South. They wanted to escape the oppressive Jim Crow of the South. The other thing you gotta understand is they came because World War I impacted labor shortages. All the white men had to go overseas, you understand, and fight. And so that's why you got a huge increase in the black population. You see, Chicago's black population increased from 148%. Detroit, 611%. From 1910 to 1920. The working conditions were harsher down south. You know, migrants found work in factories, slaughterhouses, and foundries, often under arduous and dangerous conditions, but it was much better than being down south. You understand? And then, of course, by the time, you know, they came, there's a lot of racial tensions. This is what they met. You know, when these Southern blacks came up there, there's a lot of race riots. 1919 was a big one because you got all these blacks up here and they ghetto. You understand? And the white folks like, this ain't the same. The other thing is how black people perceived these folks. It wasn't just the white folks that looked at them with the side eye. Okay? You got to also establish the black folks. You know how y'all look at them black immigrants coming up here? What you gonna do when they move into your neighborhood? Look at some of these videos circulating on the internet with how some of these black folks are looking at some of these immigrants hanging out. They looking at them the same way our ancestors looked at the Southern blacks coming up. And we're gonna have the same problems. See, there's a cultural divide. Not only is there a difference between what region of the country you're from, these people are not even from our country. You see? So let's go over how y'all see these new African immigrants. Now, the northern blacks in the communities, at the time when the Southern blacks came up, they reviewed them as lacking refinement. You understand? They thought they were ghetto. You see? These people, they weren't gonna get the employment opportunities that the educated northern blacks were gonna get. Right? So they were gonna live more in poverty. There was educational disparities. Another thing is accumulation and assimilation. They had a different culture. It's gonna be different for them to try to adapt to this northern lifestyle. Some of these African brothers coming over here, they don't have a pot to piss in or a window to throw it out of. But they're gonna swear up and down, they're the man of the house. How is that gonna work? Right? On top of that, our Southern brothers, they spoke English, but it was you know, Southern slang. Yeah, man. Some of y'all can't understand some of these rappers from down south. Can you imagine if you were surrounded by them? There's a lot of interracial prejudice and discrimination within the black community. You understand? You see? Somebody said they're putting us versus immigrants to cause disruption. So when the smoke comes, they'll be able to stand back with their hands appearing clear. No, brother, these immigrants are coming on their own, and they're coming for the same reasons that our African brothers, that our ancestors migrated from the South. It's the same thing. That's what I'm trying to tell you. It's the same thing. Okay? There's going to be social class distinctions. You see? It's between established black people who've been here, foundational black Americans, and these newcomers. Language, style, perceptions and behaviors. Some of the stuff you might be perceived as rude. You're going to think they lack refinement. All of this is in there. Of course, the educational disparities. And what about housing? Do you want these African immigrants to live next door to you as a black American? Probably not. You're going to discriminate against them because there's a color line. These are real black Africans. These are black, dark-skinned, no mixture Africans with African features. You see? This is what we're dealing with. So, you know, the Great Migration, it involved millions of black Americans moving from the South to other parts of the country, and it created a complex dynamic within the black community. The affluent, acculturated black Americans in the North sometimes perceive these Southern arrivals as lacking in sophistication and cultural refinement. And this perception was influenced by social, economic disparities between the groups, including differences in education, employment, and opportunity. It also led to a competition for resources, housing, contributing to internal racial prejudice and discrimination within the Black community. And these dynamics significantly influenced the formation and evolution of Black identity in urban areas, shaping the community's experience and political activism. So here we are, fam. Basically, the picture that I'm painting for you, brothers, and I'm gonna open up the chat room and I'm gonna let y'all come in and we can chop it up. And we can talk about this subject. There's gonna be a culture clash, because even if Trump is reelected, these Africans are not gonna stop coming, because there's gonna be a Democrat in there again. At some point, and the African population is growing astronomically in places like Nigeria. And so they're going to keep coming. And there's really not a whole lot you can do other than shutting the border down completely. But all they're going to do is just wait till some more Democrats show up and come in. So I want to know, what do you anticipate? Is this good? Can we take another influx or not? Because that situation, when our Southern, and these are our own Black relatives, straight out of Mississippi, Alabama, that set us back half a century. Matter of fact, it set us back about a century. We are just now getting back to the point that we would have been had it not happened back in 1880. I mean, what I'm saying is we're just now getting to that point. So my question is, what we gonna do? Should we be pro or against? This is the question. Anyway, we got the bullpen filling up. Boy, it's gonna be a great conversation. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go ahead and take a quick break and come back in. But y'all gotta pay me for my time, man. I only got 2 super chats. Y'all don't pay me for my time, I ain't coming back. And this is bound to be a good one. So y'all make sure y'all do what you gotta do. Until then, guess where you going? Huh? I ain't gonna do y'all like that. Y'all do what y'all gotta do, man.
Under the blood, Jesus cover me under the blood. Under the blood, me say me under.
I want to see you win. And I put pressure on us men to understand how we did not get our masculinity training. And we've been doing our work. Okay. But now it's time for you ladies to understand you're going to have to bet on us like you want us to bet on you. I talked to several men this week. I don't just get on here and talk shit. I have men I call around the world and I ask, what do you think about this concept? Level set me. Shout out to brother Dennis Furley.
You understand what I'm saying? Hate me all you want to, baby. I don't mind hating me. Hate all you can. Let me go the other way. Hate all you can. Hate everything. But I'm gonna still make you look good. Black men winning. Okay? Come on, somebody type that in the chat room. Black men winning. Okay? Because that's just what's happening. We are winning.
We winning. We winning. We winning. We winning. We winning. We winning. We winning. We winning. We winning. Yeah. We winning. We winning. We winning. I know they hating out here. Yeah. I know they mad. They all in their feelings. But baby, I don't care. She calling the police on me and everything. Yeah. Somebody need to get on the phone, call my attorney. Dealing with these hard-headed hoes who ain't learning. Acting all ignorant like a motherfucking menace. She better bundle up, cause bitches about to be winner. Niggas acting timid, why you think she treat a nigga so bad? Turn her only fucking son into a killer. Can't even distinguish who the women, who the bitches. She broke my nigga, even Jesus can't fix it. Navajo nigga got a man up in prison, but quick to tell you get your bag up, bitch quit it. Ever heard of Dennis? Yes sir, get your spurling, we in court early, don't be acting all girly. Keep that same energy, don't need any men. You the man, you the father, you the face of many men. Yep, Minnie Rippleton, taking L's your whole life. While the passport bros taking off the next flight. Something thick, something feminine, rubbing on my shoulders. Be a cold day in hell, Blizzard King try to tell you. A new world is coming, bitch, you better stop sinning. See, God took Kevin, left your sorry ass with Dennis.
Somebody type of old broad in the chat room talking about men. You can't find them. That just means you had your chance, boo. You had your chance, and your chance has passed you by. Your husband done went on to the great beyond. He's not there looking for you no more. You done hit one wall. Somebody type one wall in the chat room. You done hit two walls. Somebody say 3 walls. Yeah. Okay, hold on a minute. I'm trying to. All right, we back. Welcome to the broadcast. And for you guys, we got some brothers in the bullpen. We got a real one up in here, man. I want y'all to see what made me really. I've seen these videos before floating around, and we're gonna let the brother up in here in a minute. The link is in the chat room. I want y'all to check this out. If I can get this doggone thing in here, man, I don't understand why it's moving so slow today. Praise God. Let me see. I'm gonna pull it up in here. I want you guys to check this out. Okay, here we go. And I got my man up here, P Money Patrick. What's happening, brother? How you doing, sir?
Hey, great. Good to see you,
Good.
Dennis.
I see you over there booed up with something nice and beautiful. That's good for you. That's what you should be doing. But I want you guys to check this out. Check this out, man. You guys see this? This is in Harlem, New York. Visiting. He ain't visiting. He's from here from now on. Y'all see that? Are you guys seeing that? Can y'all hear the sound? I'm gonna run it back again. This is not a brother with a PhD right here. You see? This is not like these Africans that we get used to seeing who come up here and then they got 2 or 3 degrees by the time they show up. You know what I mean? They want to tell you about their culture and how they need that. This is not what we're talking about, okay? This is not the men we're talking about. Shout out to my man, P Money Patrick. Thank you so much for coming through. My man Zay's story show, you said paying for my time. Man, I appreciate you paying for the time. They tight tonight. Y'all must not have got y'all welfare checks. Y'all make sure y'all kick in. I need some of that food stamp money when you pay me for my time. Big shout out to Lance Jackson. Thank you so much, fam. Hologram EMC, think he's bad now. Wait until he gets that badge. I know, right? I told y'all about that. They're going to put these men to work. Shout out to Expansion Wiring Technologies, LLC, for the $10. And Mr. Freeman, thank you so much. Brother, welcome. I'm glad you're here. Brother Patrick, you are a very educated, money-having black man from the motherland, okay? You came over here on an airplane. You see what I'm saying? These brothers that are coming over here now by foot or sandals, shout out to Jamal Smith, they are not the caliber of man that you are. You are acculturated. You are citified. You are sophisticated. You see what I'm saying? If you live next door to me, I'd have no problem with that. If you live next door to white folks, they wouldn't have a problem with that. But some of these cats right here, this is going to be a problem. And here's what I need you to understand. They're going to put them right next door to me and you. You understand what I'm saying? They're going to put us right next door to each other because the white folks are going to say, yeah. We tried that integration thing, but it's too many of y'all here. What are your thoughts on this whole thing, bro? And now that I've laid the foundation that we in America have dealt with the influx of Southern black. First of all, who are you? What are you doing? Let me move my. Let's get to the next. What are you doing here? What's going on? I need to know.
What I'm gonna say, because I
don't want to talk about that. I just noticed where your right hand was. What are you doing? Oh, that's what we doing. How you doing? Okay, there you go. Praise God. Got your little lap on. Praise God. I'm gonna let you go ahead and focus on that. But tell us something intelligent. Go ahead. Let's hear some sophistication.
So I studied this extensively. We are a nation of immigrants. We have always been. However, in the words of Lee Kuan Yew, the guy that built Singapore, that took it from a small fishing village to the mighty country that it is today, he once said, "You want the best and the brightest coming to your country."
Mm-hmm.
Rome grew from a small village by the river Tiber to a mighty empire stretching across the Mediterranean for taking in the best and the brightest into their core.
Right.
If we let in a bunch of fruit pickers, and this is not, throwing shit at anybody, bunch of low education, no having, no work ethics, if we let a whole bunch of them in 50 years, 25 years from now, we become a nation of fruit pickers.
Mm-hmm.
We want to be a nation of innovators. The Elon Musk, the Sergey Brin, the guy that founded Google, all these guys in Silicon Valley, majority of them are immigrants.
Mm-hmm.
So we want that. Imagine what Elon Musk has been able to do with Tesla, SpaceX, PayPal, Solar City, the Boring Company. Right now, with X, those are the type of immigrants we need.
Yeah, and for you guys who don't know the background,
years from now,
we
be dominated. But if we bring in a bunch of no education, low income, especially as those jobs are disappearing, because once those jobs disappear, those men, they're going to do whatever it takes to put food on their table.
Right.
And we know what's next in line.
And fellas, I want you to understand something. Elon Musk comes from a wealthy family from South Africa. So he already had money. You understand? And, and here's the thing. If I go to let's say hypothetically, when I go to the Dominican Republic, I'm a lawyer. I'm going to go down there with money. So the type of immigrant that I show up at your front doors and I add to it. These other people show up at our southern border and they're not adding to it. But we talked a little bit about the general issue with migrants, but I want to talk to Black America. I want to talk to the Caribbean Americans. I want to talk to the Africans from Africa who are in America, which make up what is collectively the Black community. We are being flooded right now at the southern border by Africans from all over the continent of Africa. So you got people, these are not even people that speak the same language. They might speak multiple languages, but they got different cultures. There's a very big difference between Mauritania and Ghana. There's a difference between South Africa and Nigeria, Uganda and, Togo, Benin. And they're going to bunch us all in the same Black community. This is what they've done it before. They're going to do it again. And these are not the Nigerians and Ghanaians that we've gotten used to who've been coming up to the United States since 1980, since the Black Caucus said, hey, we want to loosen the restrictions on Africans coming to this country. These are not the most educated men. Brother, what can you tell us about, we romanticize Africa, Patrick. We romanticize it. Tell us about the real Africa, the real Africa.
The real Africa is just like any other society. It's all divided by class.
Right.
And then you have tribal, which is not really tribal. It's more of a clan. You know, the Europeans labeled us tribes. We more than tribes. We more of clans. So we are divided by class. So that's exactly what you're talking about. The ones that you have gotten used to were the upper middle class, the higher class. That's my father's generation that came here on a scholarship. His father sending him money to follow. My own father went to Harvard. He was that generation along with Obama's father that came to the United States under those scholarships. Because after African countries gained independence, the leaders in this Western country, they said, we have to educate them so when they go into those leadership positions, they'll be much friendlier to us than if we don't do it, Russia's going to do it, and they're going to be facing that when the Soviet Union was still alive. They will be much more facing towards the Soviet. They will be more friendly to the Soviets. So we want to bring them in here, educate them, control here, and we control their resources. So those were the Africans you're accustomed to. They're more educated. They come from families, two parents. They know their history down to their great grandfather.
Right.
What you see showing up on the southern border, it's this.
Yeah, and see, we've again, like I've said, we have dealt with this before here in Black America. From 1801 to 1899, we had Black people in places like Philadelphia, Detroit, Chicago, and they had little enclaves. They were being elected to different positions. They were just a small group of elite people. Segregation wasn't really an issue because they got along on a class level. White folks went to school with Black folks because it's like we on the same class. But as soon as all those Southern Blacks, somebody typed ghetto in the chat room, somebody typed when ghetto met bougie, the white folks said, oh, hell no. And that set us back, what year is this, 2024? That set us back 140 years. That's what I want you Black Americans to understand. That set our progress back 140 years. The influx of the Southerners coming up, the ghetto folks from the South, coming up to the North, set us back over a century. Are we prepared to deal with that? See, that's what I want you to talk about. Brother, what would you like? What are your thoughts on that? What would you do if, well, you're here. Well, you're not here. You might not be here right now, but what would you do? What is your suggestion?
So what I want to add to that is you have the federal government right now, because I'm following what's going on, cutting the barbed wires that the Texas governor or the Texas government put in. And I'm watching the federal agents pulling these guys in.
Yeah.
I'm like, to the outside world, this is the most stupid thing. One American comes and put in to secure the border. Another group of Americans shows up with wire cutters, cutting the wire and put it, and then they say they want to solve the problem. I'm like, this is a bigger game.
Yeah.
There's a bigger power in place here. I mean, they took it all the way to the Supreme Court, and the Supreme Court says that it's illegal for Texas to secure their border.
Yeah. So let me explain. Anybody who's from around America who wants to know who's not in the U.S., here's what's going on. We have a population. We're not reproducing enough children. Black people aren't reproducing enough. I think we're like 1.6. White people are like 1.3. The only people reproducing anybody is Hispanics. But what happens is the more education the women get in a society, the less likely they are to have children. And so now you have a situation where you have a stagnant group of people, which is top heavy. We got all these baby boomers up here. And I want 5 more super chats. Y'all give me 5 more super chats. Y'all not gonna do me like that, or we're gonna cut this thing short. I got 5 super chats. I like to get 20. If y'all give me 5 more super chats, that'll be dope. I appreciate it. Even if you give it to me in the super hard, pay me for my time. Clearly, you're not gonna get this anywhere else. I mean, nobody's gonna talk about this. Y'all want to know how I can always do these predictions and tell you what's gonna happen? I'm telling you, there's gonna be animosity. I'm telling you, your children and grandchildren are going to have to deal with regression. In other words, some of these sophisticated places that we have is going to regress. And the question that the brother Patrick is posing is, why would the federal government allow this? Number one, our birth rate is low. And that's why you see them revoke Roe v. Wade, and it's forcing women to have children. But guess what? It's a lot easier to just bring a new body over here that's already grown and ready to work than it is to raise a child from 1 year old and make sure they're productive. You see what I'm saying? Whether these guys get jobs driving Ubers, or whether or not they become PhDs and doctors, they're still contributing to the tax base. And so they're trying to scramble and figure out ways to pay this Social Security debt, to make sure we got enough people in the military to impregnate some of these women. Because here's the thing, you also got to understand, black men, and we just talking about black men alone, only 51% of us have kids. I'm sorry, less than 51% of us don't have kids. Shout out to Patrick Henderson. Thank you so much. So what does that mean? Thank you so much, Vincent Robinson. That means we need some black dudes over here to impregnate some of these women. We need some Asian dudes. We need white to come make babies with these women over here, whether they're women from their country or wherever, so we can get the population up. Otherwise, America crumbles. Europe is crumbling because they don't have population. So what do? They open up the floodgates and let these immigrants come in. And the government doesn't care. The elites don't care. And I talked about this last night. The elites don't care about your discomfort. They didn't care about black folks coming from the South, going to these enclaves of the ghettos in what is now the ghettos of North America, where black folks are. They just want the cheap labor. And so they entice people to come on up. And that's what's happening now. It's not about us as an individual. Our government doesn't care about it. That's why you see one American put up a gate and another American come cut the gate down, because you got the elites versus the nationalists. The nationalists want to put America first. The elites want to put their pocket, their money, their individual control first. That's where we are, bro. What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, that's facts. That's true. You nailed it. Because if a nation is not expanding, it's contracting. That's just a law, the universal human law. It's just a law that governs. Anything is not growing is contracting. So yes, you see countries like Japan, even South Korea, the more education the women obtain, the birth rates start going down. So of course we want to bring in more bodies, but what kind of bodies is coming in? We want a productive body.
See, the elites don't care. See, they feel as though, here's what's gonna happen. Those white folks who you are cool with right now, who you live around and you might go to LA Fitness with, go to the gym. When all these Africans straight off, and I'm gonna call it the bush, when the Africans from the bush come over here, they're gonna be like, all of you N-words need to be in the same room. Y'all are all the same. We don't, you call yourself mulatto, mixed, FBA, you got all you N-words go over there, y'all stay there, and we gonna go over here. You understand what I'm saying? That's what's gonna happen. Y'all, that's y'all problem. White folks are gonna say, well, look, y'all black, those are your people, y'all deal with them. We're not gonna help you tame them and treat them. It took us 180 years to get back to where we were back in 1880. Here we are, 2024. 160 years to get back to where we are. Like, at some point, we need to learn this lesson. And see, here's the other thing, Patrick. Let me tell you something else. It's some black folks looking at this right now, and I'm happy you here. They're going to say, look at these two bougie Negroes. Somebody type bougie in the chat room. Somebody say bougie in the chat room. Light-skinned bougie and dark-skinned bougie are on here. And we are saying, send them Negroes back to where they came from. And they looking at us and they're going to be like, but this is the same conversation that took place 160 years ago when the Southern blacks came from the South. And so how are you going to deal with the fact that if you say, well, I'm voting for Trump because I don't want all them N-words and whatnot coming up here. They coming straight to my neighborhood. So how are you going to deal with that? What's going to be your ammunition to deal with that?
You know, that's why we always have to be engaged in the political discourse all the way down to the grassroots canvassing. I did all that. Going to college in the United States, be an intern with the Democratic Party of Georgia when I was still a Democrat, and being an intern for Congressman Hank Johnson at the 4th Congressional District. Yeah. And I learned how the American political process works. You have to, all politics is local, as they say. We have to be involved down to the local, because if not, I learned this. When they want to stick a stinking plant into the community, they come and stick it in your community if you don't have a voice. That's just politics, is who gets what, when, and where.
Yeah.
But if you're involved, you get a say on what happens. Sometimes it's sad because when I talk to brothers that was born and raised in the United States, they don't believe in the American political system. They're going to put in who they want to put in. There is no sense in voting.
Let me help you out, Patrick. That's the remnants of those Southern blacks who came up all those years ago. Because see, what happened? Now in New York, you went from having 20,000 black folks to 200,000 black folks with a different cultural mindset, a different way of seeing things. Where you had industrious black people doing well for themselves and balling and making. Now you got all these folk from the South who ghetto and they don't see things the same way you do. That's the remnants of it. In other words, we'll never get over this. You understand? Shout out to my man Red Pill Steven, Todd Cummings, and Patrick Henderson and Black Sand. I need 3 more super chats, man. Y'all make sure y'all give me them 3 more. But that's what I'm saying. That's going to be the remnants of that in 180 years. It's just, and we got to deal with it. We got to deal with the ghetto. We got to deal with the change of the culture, the poverty mindset, the violence, because you ain't growing up in the bush and you didn't come up violent. You see what I mean? You had to come from a pretty desperate situation to want to walk from Africa all through Mexico. You see what I'm saying? This is a situation we're dealing with. What are your thoughts, bro?
Yes, yeah, you're very right on that, because as class divisors, that class has been dividing us from the dawn of time. People who own property, who come from a family owning property, they act a certain way. They respect. They see your property, they respect it. You give him one room, he's going to leave it better than the way he found it, versus someone who didn't come from that culture. You give him a one room, by the time you come back, the whole thing is torn down because he doesn't have a value for it. He's going to drink water and throw the water bottle out on the streets. He's going to leave his rubbish right on the street because he doesn't have a culture of respecting the community, nice and clean. His sense is not thinking, if I throw this on the floor or on the ground, no one is going to pick it up. It's going to be an eyesore. His mentality is not thinking that way.
Our ancestors here in Black America, when those Southern blacks would come up, they would complain about how ghetto they were and how loud they were. They would eat with their mouths full. They would eat on the back of the buses and trolleys, and they would just be so degenerate in their behavior. The women were loose. The rate of out of wedlock birth rate went up. That's why when a woman would get pregnant in the North, they would send her down south where that was common. You have that baby out of wedlock, and then you can come back up here. So the culture was so different. Remember back then, here in America, and it's easy to get around America now, and I need 3 more super chats, but I don't want to interrupt this conversation. It's easy to get around America right now. You can fly from LA to New York in 4 or 5 hours. But back then, remember, you had to get there on a train, and that could take weeks. And trains cost money. Or you could get there in a stagecoach, and that would take months. And that costs money, time, and resource and organizations. So people never really left their little hometown. So these black folks in the North, they might have well been space aliens compared to folks down in Arkansas, Louisiana, and Georgia. They were just totally uncultured, unsophisticated, and it set us back 160 years. And here's the thing, if you even mention it, they're gonna say, "Oh, you bougie, you think you better than us." You see? You just like us, you still an N-word. That's what they do. That's that ghetto culture. And so I'm gonna promise you, when these African brothers gonna come over here, they're gonna come, Brother Patrick, you are still a man, you are African man, you need to treat us. They're gonna hit you up with that. Don't be like these, don't treat us like that's what's gonna happen. They're gonna try that stuff with African Americans. You are still black. The white man, they're gonna accent is gonna change, but they're gonna have that same ghetto mentality, man. You know what I'm saying? Let's run a quick break. I'll be right back. Y'all, I need 2 more super chats. Let me see. Y'all get this cold shoulder. No, better yet, this is a good one. All these simps running around here, running amok, all these son husbands. It ain't just these single mothers' faults. Happy wife? No. Happy life. Y'all heard that before. That's the most simplest thing you can hear said.
Yeah. Welcome to Simp University. That's right. We got an all-star lineup. Yeah. We got Dr. Simp Jackson on the drums. Or Johnson. Yeah. We got Dr. Boogity Boyce Watkins on the tambourines. We got Derek, the Janky Jack Jackson, singing back up. And this is the Simp Academy, baby. Shake it for a simp, shake it for a simp. Shake it for a simp, shake it for a simp. She just want that money anyway. She just want it. He don't give a fuck, he gon' pay. So he gon' pay it, baby. Shake it for a simp, shake it for a simp. Shake it for a simp, shake it for a simp. She just want that money anyway. He don't care, he don't give a fuck, he gon' pay. That's it. Shake it for a simp.
All right, welcome back to the broadcast. I got my man Patrick. Bro, you at least introduce your lady, bro. I mean, you just sitting there with, it's just so sexist. I already get enough heat on the page, bro. You don't want to say nothing, that's fine. Just, anyway. Bro, you causing problems for me, bro. You causing. There you go. We're gonna let you go on, do whatever it is you was doing. Praise God. Hallelujah. We're gonna pray, Lord. Lord, everybody bow your heads, Lord, for Brother Patrick. Hold on. Let's go ahead and everybody put your hands up towards the bow your heads. Let everybody bow your head, Lord. Lord, we ask that Brother Patrick pull out clean, Lord. We ask that he pull out clean, Jesus. We ask that we don't get any little biracial African Asian babies popping up on this trip. Hallelujah, Lord. We pray, Father. We pray that his pullout game is tight, Lord. We ask that his pullout game be outstanding, hallelujah, and that the liquor not flow through his veins so much that his judgment is lacking. Hallelujah, Lord. We ask, praise God. We ask, Lord, that he not impregnate not one, not any lovely ladies, not any women on this trip that he's on, and that you protect him in the name of the Holy Ghost, Lord. We ask that you do that. Everybody in the chat room say, amen, brother. You covered, brother. You covered. Hallelujah. Covered, brother. You covered. Hallelujah. Everybody say hallelujah. Hallelujah, Brother Patrick. You good. You good. You good, brother. You good. But anyway, man, back to this serious conversation. I need 2 more super chats. Y'all out here playing. Jamal Smith, Black Sand, and my man Vincent Brown. Sorry for my absence. I'm back now. Yeah, this replay is gonna be real. Basically, man, let me summarize what I'm saying. What I'm saying is, Black Americans are looking at this influx coming up the border. First of all, we shocked that it's not just a bunch of Latinos. We're shocked that we thought it was just Mexicans. This ain't our problem. No, it's not even just that. It's just Chinese, but it's also Arabs, but it's those Africans. And what we know about Africa, what we know about Black America, what we know about the United States is it focuses on, and it's even in our Constitution, racism, not just racism, but anti-Black racism is codified in our Constitution, which categorizes us as 3/5 of a human being. We're the only group of people. We had all kind of Native Americans here, but they saw fit to categorize the African man and woman as 3/5 of a human being. So we know that there's a distinct racism set aside for Black people. So my question is this: how can you not recognize that when we get an influx of Africans over the next 10, 20 years, because the population in Nigeria and these West Coast, it is growing exponentially. And as long as you have your borders open, these people are coming. And when they come, guess where they're going to go? You're going to be cordoned off to your own black ghettos. We are going to, so it doesn't matter if you're a doctor or a lawyer. They're going to say, no, all y'all go over there. And you're going to be over there with the dudes that's straight off the boat. They're going to be outside in front of your house. Have you been to California lately? You know how annoying it is having to be in one of those hotels in California and everybody outside is smoking weed? Imagine that in front of your house when you walking outside with your daughters and your wives. I'm just asking questions. The guy in the black suit, shout out to you, my man, Black Samurai, brother. Whose side are you on? Are you on the bougie side? Are you on the ghetto side? That's what I need to know. Are you bougie? Because our ancestors that was in the North, they were clearly bougie. They had a problem with all these Southerners, and we call them sellouts and they still call them boule for that. Do you know that? That's where all that animosity came from. You think you better than us. No, you're ghetto, and I don't want to be around you. You understand? We need one more super chat. Y'all make that happen. Black Samurai, I hope I've laid a foundation for this conversation. What are your thoughts on it?
My thoughts is, this is all by design. They're bringing these people in to push us down a class, a few notches, us foundational Black Americans. And, we had almost 100 years to get our act right, over 100 years. And it's going to be sad. Either this is a pivotal point. Either it's going to make us or break us. Either we create our communities and create a space for us to be at, or we're going to be pushed down into a suburban class.
I'm going to challenge you. I don't think the white man has contrived this plan. I think they say we need more workers.
Right.
We're going to open up the gate. We're going to let some poor people in. And whoever comes in, and we're going to give them citizenship. Mm-hmm. And they're going to be the bottom barrel working class. That's what's going to happen. The white people know what to do with their white folks that they don't want to be around. Asian people, they have a different culture. They can put them together because they might be from China, but they still Chinese. Africa is not a country. It's a continent, and it's very diverse. And so my question is, we are the only Africans in this country, but we are totally different from our African brothers and sisters. Yeah, we got some slight similarities, but for the most part, we've been in this country for 500 years. We are totally different. So, but they're going to put those Africans fresh from Africa in with Black Americans. And that is going to be some cultural difference. That's going to be some conflict. They're going to come with their good stuff, but most of them are going to come with the bad stuff, the gangs, the bad habits, the drugs, the different religions, the different languages, and it's going to be conflict. And they're going to be trying to sleep with your daughter, Black Samurai.
Right.
What are your thoughts on that?
To me, it's an encroachment, and to me, I don't like it because we my family come from the South. We ran from the South from segregation.
Yeah, your family and mine too. That's why I showed you that bill of sale. Did you see that bill of sale with my ancestors from Mississippi?
Right.
So I'm speaking to you as one of those folk who came up here from the Great Migration and set them bougie Black folks back.
Right.
You see what I'm saying?
And it makes me angry. It makes me angry. It makes me hot.
Yeah.
But I have to calm that. That because what they want us to do is to be hot and go get violent and to be hot and wild up, which is right. Which you can't blame them. But we need to focus that.
I mean, see, here's the problem. Well, let me say, do y'all? I mean, Patrick. I want you to understand something. Both Black Samurai and I have relatives. My relatives immigrated to. They went from the South to California. And where your people from, Black Samurai?
They originally, my mother's grandmother's side is from South Carolina, and my father's side is from North Alabama.
And where y'all at now?
My father's side, they migrated more to the Western New York, and my mother's side, they migrated to like Pittsburgh. So it's like the Allegheny area.
So Patrick, what I want you to, as an African man, I want you to understand something. My family left the South, and they took their ghetto selves out to LA. And his family left the South, and they took their ghetto selves to New York and Philadelphia. And the black folks who was in New York and Philadelphia, they was like, oh man, we got to deal with them. You see what I'm saying? And the people who was in LA, the black folks who were there, they were the Houston's family is a famous black family in Los Angeles College. They're like, man, we got all these Southern Negroes coming up here messing up what we got going on. So we're conflicted in that our people did the same thing that we're now complaining is happening with these Africans coming up here. You see what I'm saying? But here we are recognizing that it set those folks in LA back 140 years. It set those folks in New York back in Philadelphia 140 years. And now we about to see it happening right now. It's about to be, how many? They got 100,000 folks coming up. Is it every month? 100,000 a month?
For the southern border of Texas, yeah.
They got 100,000 every month coming. And a large percentage of them are Africans from Africa. Yeah, you got other ethnicities, but a lot. And so where do you think they're going to end up? They already, them brothers that I showed you the picture of, and they put them in Harlem. Why do you think they put them in Harlem?
I saw a few in my neighborhood.
Why did they put them in Little Italy? You see what I'm saying? They're going to put them in East Oakland. They're going to put them in Southside Chicago. They're going to put them in Compton. You understand me? They're going to put them in everybody here in Houston. They're going to put them here or New York. They're going to put them in the Bronx. They're not going to put them in their neighborhoods because they're black. And so my question is, how do you feel about that? What do we do? Now let me throw some out there for you. We couldn't stop Americans from coming from the southern part of America to the northern part of America. But we darn sure can stop people from coming from another country to this country because they're not citizens. So that's one thing. But what are your thoughts? Let's get back to Patrick, man. I need some. This is what we're dealing with. I need one more super chat. But go ahead, brothers. The floor is open.
Yeah, so this is an even bigger issue because you have not just Africans coming in, because I'm monitoring what's going on in our southern borders very closely. Even Indians from the subcontinent. And you have all over Syrians from the Middle East, Iranians, Persians coming in, and they all get resettled in those communities that already have Indians. Indians going to get moved in there. So in their sense, or their master plan, it's easier to assimilate into like that. Just the second generation is going to be just like whatever community they're in. They remove visa entry for Polish people just to encourage more Caucasians to come in. Now the refugees from Ukraine, they're moving them in, they're moving them right in. So what it's gonna take, I hope it doesn't happen, but it's gonna take like a big one of those T word to come in and do a massive damage. You know the T word I'm talking about?
Oh yeah. That'll make them shut it down, but they're just gonna open it back up. See,
no, I hope that doesn't happen, but that's like, because I was listening to an admiral the other day. He was saying that that's probably what it's gonna take for something to actually happen. Even if Trump gets in there, the amount that's been in there. Because what I want is when they come in, because I was just in the Netherlands. And they have a huge African population over there, but they're doing it right. They have these things they call the hobby or innovation hubs. They teach them how to be an electrician. They teach them all these skills. And companies have actually been founded over there that are worth multi-million-dollar. So they are creating, because wealth is created wherever men exude energy. So they are collecting their energy, they're exuding energy by creating companies through the skills that the Dutch government has given onto them. I don't see the same thing happen in the United States. It's like you come in to this neighborhood, good luck, you figure it out yourself. And you have people, they're floundering on the street, they don't have the permits to work, they don't have the jobs that we need, like plumbing. I mean, 20 years from now, good luck trying to get a plumber. electricians,
Right.
all the skills that we need in this country to keep this country functioning. No one is giving those on those trade schools that we used to have. And I see the Dutch government is doing it right. French government, they're doing it just like they do it here in the United States. The British government doing the same way we're doing in the United States. That's why the crime rates in France, the UK is astronomical. You don't hear that happening in the Netherlands. Because when I was in the Netherlands, when I visited, they have a huge African population over there. But you don't hear any problem. They're doing it where they're bringing them in and they're resettling them. Germany is doing it the same way. Some parts of Germany, like Bavaria, they bring them in and they resettle them. They teach them the German culture. They teach them the German language. They take about a year to go to the language school to learn the language, learn the custom. Now they become Dutch citizens or German citizens.
But what I'm saying, brother, what you gotta understand, you can teach these black folks, these black Africans, the language and the culture, but they will never accept them as German. And see, because Europeans practice a very distinct sort of racism. It is an anti-black racism. You see what I'm saying? So, I mean, it's good that they're doing that. I know we don't do that here in the United States. You got to get it how you live over here. But my thing is, what's going to happen to us that's here? This quality of life that we have is going to be decreased because you're going to be surrounded by people that just don't see the world the way you see the world.
Right.
Black Samurai, we got a few minutes, bro. Talk to me.
Well, I had a situation with my African friend, and I went to college with him. We've been friends over 20 years. He's Nigerian, and a situation happened when he was running his own business. He owns a movement company, and he was moving a person from New York to Illinois around St. Louis. And what happened was he had another Nigerian and a Congolese working with him. And he decided to, instead of going to St. Louis and going to a hotel, he decided to go to a hotel and go to outskirts in the suburbs. Well, long story short, the police, they ranged him up, they pulled him up, and they gave him trumped up charges. And what happened was he ended up getting probation. Either they say, "Hey, go to jail for 6 months." It was for marijuana or something. And in that state, recreational marijuana is not legal yet. So they say, "Hey, go to jail for 6 months and it'll be over," or take the plea, which is 2.5 years probation. He got scared because he didn't want to go to jail. He just took the plea, and he was trying to explain to me. And I tried to tell him, I'm like, if you traveling cross country, you got to know where you at. You know what I'm saying? Certain parts of America are still racist and still don't want black people. They see 3 black guys in a U-Haul, that probably put up a lot of red flags. And they're going in and out of your hotel room because he tried to say, "Oh, I didn't leave the hotel room," but your workers was going in and out smoking cigarettes. That tipped him off. So, I try to tell him, like, listen, if you're going cross country, go to a black population center. They won't treat you like that. But he didn't understand because he looking at the other way around. "Oh, I'm African, I'm equal." No, bro. They looking at your skin color. You're black. But he didn't want to understand that. But now he understands now because he got another 1.5 years probation. But hopefully he learned his lesson that, if you're going to go in this country and do business, you're going to be labeled as black as being melanated. You know what I'm saying? You got that skin color, they're going to treat you like that. Just understand that, And at the end of the day, our people got to understand that, hey, if they're going to bring these Africans here, just welcome them if you can. But this is an opportunity for you to start up businesses, open up shop, welcome them in and make some money, Because at the end of the day, why not make some money off of what's going on? Because you can't stop it.
Yeah, but see, make the money to go where?
Right. You can still go.
That's what I'm trying to say. Make the money to go where? Because wherever you go, the black people are gonna show up because you black. The white folks are gonna move out because they don't want to be around you. See, I've got to, I'm gonna tell y'all some crazy stuff. When I moved in my neighborhood, it was mixed, and then the white folks moved out. And what I've noticed over the past 2 years, and I've been here for about 19 years, more white folks have moved back to into the black. Like we ran all the white folks out of here. They was like, "Oh, I'm not living next to these black people." It was back in 2004 or 5. We came, they left, and now over the past 2 years, the white folks are coming back. Not only that, we got Asians and all sort of stuff. because they realize there's a bunch of black doctors and lawyers and police officers and firemen and nurses that live over here. This is not the ghetto. You see what I'm saying?
Right.
But what's going to happen is the ghetto is going to be wherever the black folks are. And I'm just saying, man, and it's like, what is your quality of life going to be like? What is our grandchildren's quality of life going to be like if we got to put all of these folks who are fresh out of Africa, we got to put them through the recycling bin and get them up to the point like our ancestors had to do us. You understand? Get them acculturated. So nevertheless, you guys, I'm looking for one more super chat. That would be great. Y'all don't have to give it to me if you don't feel like I earn my money. That's cool. Nevertheless, here's what I want to present to you all. Okay. But first, let me thank Patrick and let me thank Black Samurai. Thank you so much, guys. I appreciate y'all. It's always good to have you gentlemen in here to chop it up with good, intelligent conversation. And and that's just this is how we create the ideas. But if poor African immigrants were to significantly enter into the United States and begin to outnumber this middle class that we have here in Black America. Because remember, as I said before, over 2/3 of Black men have reached the middle class by the time they hit middle age. We got 2.5 million rich Black men who are either upper middle class or rich. So we've made some significant progress since we left the plantations and the fields back in the 1920s. So I'm focused on the immediate effects of having all these Africans come here from the motherland. And I'm not talking about Africans with PhDs and Africans who came over here with education. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about Africans who are straight out the bush, no education. They coming over with their sandals on. They literally walked here up through the southern border. What are going to be the immediate effects? Well, on one hand, there could be an increased strain on resources within the community. Okay? Increased competition for housing, jobs.
Crime.
We know that's gonna happen. And as their needs get larger, they're gonna want cars, aren't they? They're gonna want to date your daughter. You see what I'm saying? And we know these lovely ladies are always gonna greet them with open legs. We already know that. Come on in and get it, Mustafa. I got one for you, baby. You see, the less affluent immigrant population, they're going to outweigh the current provisions in the areas like housing, education, and employment. You can't put all these kids in these schools in Chicago, in Detroit, in New York. They can barely afford to pay for the kids they got. So the kids are going to suffer.
Right.
And what is this going to lead to? It's going to lead to tension. It's going to potentially lead to a heightened competition for everything, but also heightened competition for jobs, educational opportunities. Because the thing is, most Black Americans aren't educated. Most of them don't have a high school diploma. Not most, but a lot of them don't have a high school diploma. We're not talking about a bunch of folks who have spent years and years accumulating land and wealth. No, these folks are barely making it. And so we got competition, and it's going to exacerbate the socioeconomic disparities that already exist. Okay. Now, on the flip side, these immigrants could bring a surge of cultural exchange. They could bring that immigrant, that entrepreneurship, and it could create business opportunities, and it could potentially benefit the community as a whole. I'd like to think that. I would like to think that if we get a bunch of masculine Africans who walk their butts over here, they mean business. I would like to think that we get a bunch of family-oriented, patriarchal Black Africans who have come to the United States to tame some of these lovely ladies. I think that would be overall a good thing. Now that's the good side. Shout out to Felix Gills. Thank you so much. However, it's going to be a period of adjustment. We can agree on that.
Right.
With the middle class Black Americans facing challenges, we're going to have to adapt to this changing dynamic in our community, including, listen, different political shifts and what's priorities in the community. Because our African brothers are going to have a different set of priorities than us. And that's something you got to think about. And again, we've been here for a minute. Just like Black Samurai was explaining, the brother didn't understand the landscape. They might not understand the landscape, and that in itself could set us back. But either way, man, shout out to everybody who came through. Sigma Black Roman, man, you came in way too late, baby. I'm about to get on up out of here. Uncle D is tired.
I hear your voice, man.
30 seconds, man. Talk to him. You got 30 seconds. What would you like to add before we get up out of here?
Yo, I want to say to my Afro-American cousins, we may jump back and forth, but remember, when no one was on your side in 1865, we were Haitians were on your side. So just know that, and also, if you want to rally, but you have the right to circle the wagons, because this is your stuff. This is your stuff. So you have the right to rally the wagons. If you need to hear that from a non-ADOS, I'm on your side. You have the right to rally your wagons.
Well, Jenna, and I'm gonna take a point. I don't know. Somebody in Louisiana must be thinking about me because I keep saying pernt instead of point. What is wrong with me? But I'm gonna take a point of personal privilege and say I enjoy having our African brothers and sisters come to this country. I think overall we benefit from that culture. I think that is helpful to us to be able to see Africans, be they from the motherland or somewhere else, in charge of the universities and filling up our medical schools. Because if they're not there, then guess who? Ain't nobody going to be filling up with folks that don't look like us. I think that's overall a wonderful thing. However, I need my African brothers to understand we know the lay of this land, and there's a reason why we operate the way we operate. So don't mess that up. I had a case 10, 15 years ago, and the guy ended up firing me, but then I sued them and intervened into the case. So they had to call me to the mediation, and his new lawyer, I was like, well, what's the status on the case? Well, I dismissed this person, that person, that person. I was like, man, you messed up the leverage. You messing up the leverage by doing it. You didn't understand why we had that set up that way, and now you kind of messed it up. And we end up, resolving the case for a lot less than what I originally got him offered. But the bottom line is, it's some cultural exchanges. This is a different land that you're in. Everything that we've done hasn't been perfect, but we made a lot of mistakes. But we still here after 500 some odd years. Right. If you can come in and do better with that, that's great. But what you don't want to do is call for us to have suffer regression. Because I don't think the Black American community, we're not the people that we were back in 1880. We're not the entrepreneurials. We're not the people who know how to do all the labor. We'll fall off, and it won't be none of us over here. And it would end up just like LA. See what I'm saying? A place that Black people used to live. But either way, man, shout out to Patrick. Thank you so much, Black Samurai. Thank you so much, Sigma Black Ronin. I appreciate y'all. And my voice is gone.
So much for having me.
Yeah, no problem, brother. And I'm glad you came through, man. It's very good. We got a brother from the continent, a Caribbean brother, and a brother who's foundational Black American. And we chopping it up. This is a great conversation. For you African brothers who are coming up here, if you mean well, you want to integrate into the system, you want to accentuate it, you want to make things better, all right, you got my blessings. I don't mind competing for jobs. You see what I'm saying? But don't come over here treat this like a new start. We got enough crime, we got enough criminals, we got enough bad guys, and we got enough people that don't like us. So don't come over here with the tribalism. Don't come over here with you're not like me. Remember, you walked up here on sandals. You see what I'm saying? Through a southern border uninvited, and they sent you to us, and we allowed you in. And they wouldn't even let you pass the border had we not done the stuff that we've done centuries ago, decades ago, and fought for racial equality. So, but you know, the main thing is come build, not destroy. Other than that, man, this is Uncle D. I appreciate y'all.